Well, welcome to day 7 of our Lenten readings. The downside of you watching a video means that you now know that I'm capable of making a point in 3 minutes or less. Actually, it is what it is. So today's reading is Psalm 77. And hopefully you've read it by now. If not, please take a moment to read Psalm 77 and then you can watch the video. In verses 1 and 2, the psalmist talks about this difficult time that he's in. In fact, in verse 2, it talks about, when I was in distress, I sought the Lord. He's in major turmoil. And I'm glad he didn't mention what it was, because then we would have a tendency to compare ourselves to it. But instead, we have an opportunity to just say, all of us have times when we're in distress and don't know what we're going to do. We learn from the psalmist in verses 3, 6, 11, and 12 that he chooses on what he will meditate, and he meditates on God and God's power to help him during this time of distress. I love what Tim Keller put when he talked about meditation. He said, when we meditate, we work the truth down until it affects the heart. We work the truth down until it affects the heart. Or Paul put it this way in 2 Corinthians 10:5. We take every thought captive and we make it obedient to God. In other words, we take God's truth and it's central, and then we align our lives to the truth of God's Word. In verses 6 to 9, we find that God's quite capable of handling whatever questions that we may have due to the time of distress that we're in. We see here, he says, will the Lord reject me forever? Will his unfading love vanish forever? He's not afraid to say what he's thinking, and God is quite capable of handling whatever turmoil or questions that we may be encountering. But what I love most about this, what we learn from this psalmist, is that he ends up choosing what he's going to meditate on. We see in verses 13 through 20 that he picks very carefully what he ponders. Look at verses 14 and 15. They are amazing. You are the God who performs miracles. You display your power among the peoples. With your mighty arm, you redeem your people. He decides that regardless of the turmoil that he's in, he's going to focus on God and his power. He's going to allow his distress to be aligned to the power of God. That's a great lesson for all of us. And may we take whatever turmoil or strains or stresses or anxieties that we have, and may we align them or let them be filtered through the power of God, that God will never leave us. He will never forsake us. God is capable of carrying us through whatever season we're in. May God bless you today.